I don't know. Yeah, Restream. We got to talk. Because I have no idea what's going on with your production value because that whole setup just absolutely sucked. Sorry, Restream. You're not getting. Well, you're getting my money. I don't like it, so we're gonna have to figure this out. Yeah, welcome into Loose Cannons. We got a lot to talk about. We had shows set up. Life is what happens when you make other plans. You guys know how that goes, but we are here. We are live and in living color, and we've got a good panel for you tonight. You guys know who I am. I'm the bearded one. I am a certified G. I am a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. Below is a new baby daddy, the OG Ryan, and you can't teach that. Next to me is a father of twins, a dude that's lived on both coasts, and you can't teach that. Mikey,
be more cringe. All right.
What?
Good, it's good.
Enzo Amore, baby. Come on. Realest guys in the room. How you doing? Anyway, so a lot to get to. Zubimendi signs today. Well, it's official today. Decent little video. I liked it. The pulse keeper in midfield. The guy that's going to keep things moving in midfield, set the tempo. That was kind of the feel
they had
of the video. Yeah, right?
Was the only one that got Alexis Sanchez to Manchester United vibes? I was like, it's just a drum set instead of a piano. I hated it. I just got literally Alexis Sanchez playing the piano. I couldn't unsee.
I don't know. I didn't hate it.
No,
screw you. Always naysay.
I get it. I get it. I like the idea, but I literally all I could think about was Sanchez playing the piano.
I'm with Ryan on this actually because we've had some bangers in the past, and that was okay. It's got me leaving, I'm so glad. What an entrance!
I like it.
We got to figure out how to restream. We got to figure out how to make this clearer. That would have been a great entrance to come into with an entrance theme, and I don't know. So.
Yeah, I'm sure streaming Buddy Holly won't get you in any trouble with YouTube.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't care who it is. I just want Restream to be better. We'll figure it out. Anyway, hi Mike, how are you?
Good, dude. All things considered, pretty enjoying my summer so far. Up to a lot of fun things with the kiddos. Chilling, man. I'm always texting Ryan about all things Arsenal and fatherhood nowadays. So
that's
my man barely sleeps like me, so we got plenty of texting going on.
Yeah. So do I need to run out and have some sex and get somebody pregnant?
Go get.
Yeah, man.
Is that what it'll take to get you to text me too? Is that
in a way, yes. You're not going to be able to convince me with the dogs are like kids thing. Sorry, I don't really fall for that one.
They're not.
They're not.
Also, I'd like to get in front of this real quick. The reason why Mike's late is because of me. Well, I guess I want to blame Tanner, but I'll take the blame. Yeah. I thought Tanner was sending Mike the link. Mike never got the link, so Mike's like, "Hey, what the fuck? You guys waiting till the last minute?"
I'm texting Ryan right now, and I'm texting them like, "Hey guys, I don't know how you guys do this, but are you guys always writing late?" And he's like, Ryan texts me, "We're waiting for you." I'm like, "The fuck you mean? I'm sitting in front of my computer the last 10 minutes."
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that it failed to send. My bad, dude. I didn't realize that it failed to send to you.
Oh, so you did send it. Okay, good. So I'm kind of off the hook, sort of, maybe.
Ryan, I thought you were in England somewhere for some reason.
That's so weird. Oh, I see what it's doing. It's not even using that.
Where's the joke here? Where's the joke?
But, no, it literally says no send. No, Ryan above me.
Oh, I wish. No, I'm in Georgia.
Georgia. Oh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh,
wondering
Georgia,
why this guy was saying,
Island,
"Where's the joke?"
Connecticut.
Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about?
All right. Anyway, real Ryan, I'm going to start with you on the Zubimendi thing, and we'll just go around the horn here quickly. Just give your take your vibe on the signing of Martin Zubimendi?
Well, I mean, I was excited about 6 months ago, right? Because, we had dropped that, that was going to happen while we didn't sign anyone in the January window. So I had been looking forward to this for a long time. And, it seems like this is someone that, Mikel really wanted, and a succession plan to Party and Jorginho. So I'm happy. I think he's incredible. And unfortunately, I haven't watched a ton of Sociedad games, but I've seen him play for Spain. I mean, the dude is the nuts. He's very, very good. And I think he fits what we want to do. So I'm pumped for it. I think he'll be incredible. So I really don't, have anything bad to say about it. I think the fee was good. And we were just talking about the video, which, I think the jury's still out, but yeah, man, I'm excited.
Mikey, how you feel?
I'm still getting caught off guard because I had no idea we were live already. Zubimendi, first and foremost, just real quick, shout out to Daniel Hernandez in the live chat. Hernandez, the last name might seem familiar, closely related to me. Celebrated watching Mexico game, thinking about our old man.
How close are we talking?
Yeah, close. Blood related, some would say. Zubimendi thing. I think it's good, and I say I think it's good because I hate to be the guy that's like, oh, I watch hundreds of Real Sociedad's games, and I know exactly what this guy does. He looked great in a really talented midfield, within Spain, so that's promising. It's promising that when Rodrygo got injured, he came in seamlessly and the team didn't take a dip and managed to win the tournament. Those are 2 pluses. I have all the faith in the world that Arteta wants a specific player for a very specific reason, and it's going to make it work. So all those bells are pro for me. The negative I'm going to say, and I've always been a horrible off the ball type of viewer of football. So I'm going to say I don't get it. That's what I'm going to say. I don't get it. I get it as far as being replacing our starting 6, but I don't see it as starting 8, excuse me. But I don't know the exact type of player. Everybody's saying he's going to be helpful in transition. He breaks up play and all this stuff. And, those stats always look really promising. But reality is I haven't seen much of him. But I could talk myself into loving a player that A, signed for Arsenal, and B, I've never watched before, because that's just the type of guy I am.
I love
it. At least you're honest, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
OG?
Yeah, I have a little bit to say about him. I did a little bit of research because I've been on shows and people ask me about him. So I do a little bit of homework. I try to. I think at his peak or for what I think he can be, I think he's going to be better than Thomas Partey. I think everywhere, the profile that he presents with himself with, he's more of a passer than a carrier. Thomas Partey, I feel carried the ball a little bit more. And Thomas Partey was able to make interceptions, make tackles and recoveries because of his long legs, not because of his speed, not because of his defensive IQ, but because of his long, gangly legs. Zubimendi is quicker. He's smarter. He knows when to go in and make tackles. He's got a higher IQ. He's a guy. He's 5'9", but he's very good in the air, which is something that Mikel has a huge heart on for. Which I'm not going to be upset about that. He knows when to take space. He knows when to leave space and take the man. He's just a very smart midfielder. He's also played in a single pivot, and he's played in double pivot. And when he played in double pivot, he played with Mikel Mourinho, so he's very familiar with him. He's very familiar with somewhat familiar with Odegaard, and that was kind of a reason why he wanted to come here to play with Mourinho and Odegaard. It kind of enticed him to wear the Arsenal shirt. I'm very excited for this. I think, I mean, I hate talking about this, but I always bring it up. But my only reservation is just how he can adapt to the Premier League. But the things that I've seen, things that I've scouted, he has all the tools in his tool belt and toolbox to be better than Thomas Partey. I think he will be better than Thomas Partey. So yeah, I'm very excited about this signing.
Mikey, go.
Yeah, I just wanted to share just an opinion that came across the chat box when I was listening to a different podcast. if you look at Thomas Partey and Jorginho's departure and the entrance of Norgard and Zubimendi, at the very least, you could, if you really want to be optimistic about it, at the very least, we're looking at a substantially healthier duo. None of them have really long-term injuries. None of them have lost really big, major chunks of the season. Partey, I mean, out of the 4 or 5 years he's been here, we didn't play him most of the time, like 90% of the time until this very last season. He played a lot of minutes. So he was a no-go. And Jorginho, unfortunately, because of his age that he came in, he missed the majority of last season. So again, just me looking for optimism here, just trying to grasp and see, keep my sanity moving into the new season as we go. But I thought it was a really good point. I wish it was my point, but it was definitely not. But 2 very healthy, historically healthy players coming in for 2 not so healthy players for us. So if you want to look at it like that, our midfield just took a massive bump in quality just because, availability is the best ability you could have out there.
I'll be negative and push back just a little bit. Thomas Partey was historically healthy before he came here. So, knocking on wood.
Knock on wood, yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I agree. And it's funny. I know that's been going around. People are saying that we took a downgrade in these 2 midfielders. I think we upgraded tremendously. To be fair, I'm not as high on Jorginho as the average Arsenal supporter, especially when he played for us. But yeah, I think what Norgard and Zubimendi bring to the table, it's hopefully going to pay dividends. I think just the question is just that, the question. We don't know what they're going to do in an Arsenal shirt. But I definitely have high hopes for both of them.
I am going to give you guys the absolute best analysis of Martin Zubimendi that you've heard or seen anywhere. Yeah, I watched 2 matches with him playing for Spain internationally, and I like what I saw. I like what I saw.
Love that.
And that's that. Settle it up, man.
I mean, get involved, boys. That's all you need. OG, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Where do you want to go next here? You want to talk? Well, you know what? All right. So let's get into the debate, because we're gonna debate this. So Gyökeres looks like that's gonna be a done deal. We'll talk about Eberechi Eze coming up here in a little bit. Maybe a little bit of Rodrygo from Real Madrid. But we're gonna start with we're gonna continue on with the the lightning rod, maybe the controversial potentially signing that.
What's crazy is it's not. I don't think it's controversial at all. Which is like that's even crazy
already.
People are fools.
So, Noni Madueke, and I want to preface this. What I
is it Noni or Nane? No, sorry.
I've heard Noni and Noni.
Noni.
That's what I've heard.
I was kidding. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. Yeah.
I don't want him. I think he is surplus to requirements. What you said, OG, before we went live, and Mikey, before you were here, was that you, Mike, seem to have, you look at things sort of from the best interest of the club perspective. And that is why I do not want Madueke here. I don't like his attitude. I've seen the attitude doesn't seem like it's going to fit with this dressing room, a dressing room that has a lot of very strong characters. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe because Chelsea don't really have a strong leadership hierarchy, I guess would be the way that I would put it. Maybe that led him to thinking that he can just kind of run the roost. I don't know. I don't like it. And it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I mean, if you look at it from, okay, so he's not going to come in and replace Saka. He will be cover for Saka, but he's not going to replace him. And he's not good enough to really offer him competition to perhaps unseat him. So 40 million for a guy that's going to come in and be a backup, has a bad attitude, we already have a player in-house who can play that role. Maybe it's not his best role, but he was pretty damn good when he played last year in it. And he's a young player. You want to keep him around. You want to develop him, if for no other reason than increase his sell-on value, if that's where that situation is going to go. Ethan Nwaneri, in case anybody didn't know who I was talking about. So it just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint. It has nothing to do, by the way, with the fact that he played for Chelsea. I don't care. I'm one of those guys that would have taken he who shall not be named, but where's the number 9 for Bayern Munich? I would have taken him if he would have made the club better. But I don't really see how this raises the floor enough, like OG and I have talked about before. So I don't get it. I know where OG stands on it, but Real Ryan, I want to know where you stand on it.
So I'm torn, and hopefully like this conversation will lead me one way or another, because obviously, you know, most of the fans are going to say, how can we buy another player from Chelsea, right? That's just going to be the first thing that people are upset about, regardless of if they think he's good or not. They're like, we can't give them money because we don't want to be the club that always bails them out of all the times they buy all these players. And then after a year, 2 years, we'll just sell them to Arsenal, and then we'll spend that money and go buy someone else, right? I think we don't love that. I'm also with you. You know, I've seen when he tried to take that penalty off of Cole Palmer and just that whole nonsense. Like, we have a very strong locker room, it seems like, very family. You know, we don't want anyone to kind of unseat that. So I get that side too. And, you know, I felt like because of the situation at Chelsea, he had to play very selfishly. You know, he's trying to make sure he's getting minutes and whatnot. So he's looking for goals. He might not be making the correct pass sometimes because he's more looking out for himself to try and stay on the field. So those are the things that are concerning. But, you know, I'm sure most of you guys follow Scott Willis, you know, who's helped out with the Arsenal Vision. And, you know, he posted some of the radars, and I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like the guy is actually like a good player, you know, like, I mean, you can't deny like the stats, like they're actually good. So that part, you know, I just remember times of last year, I know we dealt with injuries. Like, I'm looking at our bench and I'm like, who are we bringing off the bench that can change the game? You know, our bench always looked so light and so scant against the Liverpools and the Cities and the Chelseas and whatnot, that, you know, I kind of like the idea of having someone that talented that we can bring on or play when Saka doesn't play. And he also can play on the left too. Now, I know we have people that we would prefer on the left, and we'll probably get into that, but that's a lot of cover along the front line. He's a good player. He's 23. The $40-50 million fee that's been floating around, not gonna fly, I don't think. For me, that seems like a lot for a player that is potentially needing a home with, you know, Chelsea brought in Gittins and Pedro can play across the front line. Like, they have so many people in his position. He probably won't be playing too much. So I don't know how they can ask for 50. So yeah, in my mind, like, attitude and outside factors, not really. He was also the guy, I think he posted like at Wolverhampton, like on his Instagram, that like, this place is shit, like, and posted it and like sent it out. Like, he just, you know, obviously needs PR management, you know, so it's tough. But when I look at just the stats, I'm like, dude, he's actually good. So I like good, and I like having players that are good on our team. So I'm torn. So hopefully, you know, Mike and Ryan can maybe, you know, tell me more, and I'll find a side.
Mikey, what is your take?
So I just got distracted by a really good friend in the live chat. Okay, so Tanner, you mentioned that he's not good enough to displace Bukayo Saka. My question is, who the shit is, right? I kind of think that with Saka we have the same slight situation that Spurs had with like Harry Kane, where like for years they had fucking Marcos Llorente, Soldado. They had a bunch of like, you know, mid-table. Ryan's gonna come in and say, "Oh, I'm a big Soldado fucking fan right now." His reaction.
No. I just all right, real quick. Can you say can I want you to pronounce Kepa's name?
Ooh.
No, the full. Wait, Mikey. He
Yeah,
means
yeah.
the full name.
I just love when you say Smash names. Kepa's name's gonna be amazing.
I would literally have to like Google search his name so I could read it because I can't even.
Fuck.
I don't think I've paid
All
that
right.
much attention outside of Kepa.
I don't know, dude.
Just
yeah.
a lot of ROs is what you're aiming for.
Wait,
I'll be-
Mikey. How do you say your Z's? You is it Z or is it pronounced like a TH? Like it is in Spain.
So Z at the end is Hernandez.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a dragged on S almost for Americans.
Okay. Is it
more or less?
Real quick? We'll get
Spanish
back to
class boys. Let's do it.
Yeah, 101, baby. Here we go. So wait, so because Zubimendi is Spanish, would it be Thubimendi or is it Zubimendi?
Zubimendi.
Zubimendi. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Zubi.
All right.
Zubi.
Anyway, back to
the Liverpool guy. Sing the Zubi song.
Oh my gosh, that is the best video ever.
So is it Zubi Doo? Or is it Zubi Doo?
Yeah.
Are we going Strangers in the Night or are we going the Scooby Doo theme song?
We're going
So
good. He is not as good and can't compete with Saka. I will give you that. But the Harry Kane thing I was kind of saying is, I think there's a few players in which you just look at the starting lineup and you're like, that's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to complete for him. He's not there to compete for his starting spot. He's coming over. He didn't ask for more money. It's reported that he's only on 50K, which is insane for a Premier League player. But he was coming from Dutch football, if I'm not mistaken.
PSV.
Yeah. And I do think that there's this thing now that we've set in stone that like if it's a Chelsea player, it's a reject player. And the thing is that we have good examples of Chelsea players and we have bad examples of Chelsea players. So the Sterling thing I was never in love with because of the age, right? I was thinking about this and I was optimistic with Willian when we signed him. As crazy as that might seem with the benefit of hindsight, right? Kai Havertz came through. We're like, oh man, he sucks as a midfielder, and holy shit, who could replace him as a striker? So tides, things change, perspectives change. So I'm not ready to rule this guy out. I think 40 million, at least that's what they're noting, seems like a lot. But at the same time, I kind of feel like if you're not going to spend 40 million, you can't buy somebody that's worth 5 or 10 million and justify that to Ethan Nwaneri, to your point, Tanner, right? So I understand your perspective about playing him in the Odegaard role, playing him in the Saka role. I do have this thing, and I'm just for the sake of consistency, I went into last season saying after they let ESR and Vieira leave, I went in last season flipping out saying a Premier League club that actually wants to compete for 4 titles cannot have a backup that is a 17-year-old kid. So for the sake of consistency, I think that maybe even physically, because the league in which the Arsenal are playing in, I think it's just a little too much to ask Nwaneri to play a heavy amount of minutes, assuming Saka doesn't escape a whole entire season with 0 injuries, and he has to play for like 3 months straight or whatever it is. I think like we're asking Ethan Nwaneri a lot. So I'm kind of 50-50. I wasn't expecting Madueke, but I mean, if it's him, I could qualify this transfer as I'm not bothered. And I will say to the real Ryan's point of view, I'm not too bothered as far as like, oh, he was a bad apple in Chelsea type of thing. We like if you look at our squad, we kind of have like a land of misfit toys in which like Trossard left Brighton because he wasn't all that great. Everybody thought Ben White was a little bit of a rebel because he didn't watch football. Kai Havertz, they talk so badly of him at Chelsea. He's doing okay, right? Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, at the time in which we received them, they literally weren't wanted by the majority of the fan base for Manchester City. They came good, they advanced us, and maybe the squad moved on. But I think within our squad, and if one thing our club does well is consistently look into the type of person that they're purchasing, the type of quality of human, if you will. Reflect that on a stat now, don't you, Scott? I want to say a goodwill XG or something right there on that one. Scott Willis. Yeah, I think they do a lot of homework when it comes to that. So I'm feeling confident as far as like the bad apple thing. I think that could be corrected. so I'm not too bothered about that. So, like I said, overall, and we'll get to this. Ryan knows there's only one transfer that's I've been like overthinking, and this is our striker transfer. But I'm fairly at ease, and I'm actually really impressed with the amount of legwork and the transfers that we've already completed that prior to preseason. I think that's massive. Like I know maybe I'm underselling, and maybe people, there's always somebody to be like, no, that's not enough. Sure, it's not enough. I mean, sure, I wanted a striker 3 weeks ago. I'm just saying, past Arsenal versus this Arsenal, Arteta's getting all his shiny new toys prior to preseason. And if it's prior to preseason, can we really complain? I guess, like I kind of look at it like I don't have room to complain about it.
I've got a question for all three of you, but I'm going to give OG his.
No, that's the question, because I have a question for all three of you also.
Well, you don't want to give your take what you want to hear. I mean, my question is, just let's make it easy. Just yes or no. Would you take Madueke for 5 years? 5 years. But it means losing Ethan Nwaneri in 1 year.
No. Yeah, we're sorry. You said one of the two Ryans was going to ask, right?
He asked us all three of us.
All three of you. Yes
okay.
or no? Would you take Madueke for the next 5 years, but you lose Ethan Nwaneri next year for pennies because he'd have all the leverage at that point too, because he'd only have 1 year left on his contract, and he says, no, you guys brought in somebody to replace me. I'm not signing.
I don't think you could find an Arsenal supporter in the globe that would take that deal.
Okay.
Congratulations. Right. I don't know, like what are opposites? You managed to piss off Arsblog and like Lee Gunner with that question. Like, how dare you?
Well, the second one, I don't give two shits about. I'm not a hard dude to find. He and I have gone at it before. As far as Arsblog goes, I would love to debate him.
You got to throw something in there, like we win the league or something in the 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, because no one's gonna say yes to that. No, I don't think.
OG, what say you?
I would consider it, but I at the end of the day, I wouldn't do it. But like I would definitely pause and think about it. But also like
the easier bet to do with a higher quality player than Madueke. And I think it's an easier answer if we didn't have flipping Bukayo Saka playing there. Well, I think that's what it is for us.
But again, the question: take all of that, take it all into context. I mean, I wouldn't ask that question with somebody like Rodrygo. I'm not sure I'd ask that question with Eze. It seems to me like if we're going to make this deal and it's a $40 million deal, it seems like it's a waste of money when there's a player who, right? OG, I'm sorry. Please go.
Well, I just to finish answering your question, I mean, I don't know if I actually don't know. I don't really, no offense, I don't really care what your answers are, but like, if you ask me who's a better player right now, Nwaneri or Madueke, sorry to upset everybody, Madueke is a better player than Nwaneri right now. So like, that's why I pause. I think Madueke is a better player. I'm also not as high as Ethan as I think a lot of people are. I think he's got a really high ceiling. I think he can be great. He's young. I think Madueke is a good player. So then my question is real quick. I mean, obviously it's a yes or no. I hope we don't take too long with this, but who's a better player right now, Madueke or Raheem Sterling?
I mean, Madueke is better than Sterling.
Tanner, can you agree with me on that one?
Yeah.
Well, that's who he's replacing. Madueke is replacing Raheem Sterling. So I mean, I kind of want to. I don't want to talk too much because Mike won't be here by the time my conversation is over because I have so much I want to say about Madueke. But yeah, he's
real Ryan might not be here either. He's got to get to bed.
That's true. Yeah,
everybody's waiting fast.
I'm trying to. I don't want it to be a long-winded thing. But yeah, no. I mean, Ethan Nwaneri is backup for Martin Odegaard because who? That's another question. Who's the backup for Martin Odegaard? It's Ethan Nwaneri. So like, I
don't think he hasn't shown that though. He doesn't play. That's
exactly.
Someone has to be coming in. So then Eze's going to be back after Martin Odegaard. I think Eze's going to be playing first team minutes, and Odegaard's our captain. So if he's back up for Odegaard, Eze's not playing first team minutes because Odegaard's going to play more games than not.
Where would Eze play first team minutes?
Either wing or left 8.
Well, he's certainly not playing the right wing. Certainly not playing the left wing. And now, so he's playing the left 8. Now he's displacing.
He could play. He could play left 8. He could play right wing. He could play left wing. He could play 10 too.
But I'm just. I mean.
But he's not going to back up Martin Odegaard. I think Nwaneri is poised to back up. That's how I've seen things. That's where I want that. I mean, if you look towards the end of the season, when Nwaneri comes on, he comes on for Martin Odegaard. I think he comes on for Saka. He came on for Saka a few times early in the season because we have Raheem Sterling, and because we have Holt, like Miles.
Who's better right now, Raheem Sterling or Ethan Nwaneri?
I mean, I'm better right now, and I have a torn ACL than Raheem Sterling, so that's not
easy. It's been almost a year. You're settle down. Let's not milk it now. All right. You're just hurt. You're no longer injured. You're just hurt now.
Listen. The doc gave me the keys, but I'm not licensed to drive just yet.
What'd you say, Mike?
You're killing me with these questions, bro. When you said Raheem Sterling, I almost spat as my brother said, my apple juice out.
It was rhetorical and meant to, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, my only reservation about it is, it's definitely a slippery slope with Ethan Nwaneri. But again, I see Ethan Nwaneri as backup for Odegaard. I see Madueke as strictly being a winger backup. To his attitude, he can
play both wings, which is a positive.
Yeah. The only thing, again, the reservations of Nwaneri I get, but I think Nwaneri is a backup for Odegaard. I think Nwaneri can play wings, but his main focus is 10. And I think this shouldn't really hamper his playing time. And let's be real, Ethan Nwaneri did not play a lot last season. Despite all of our injuries, despite everything we went through last season, he still did not play a lot. So whereas we have this high hope for him, and I have high hopes for him, I think he's going to be a great player. He still didn't so I don't think he's there yet. I mean, he's shown flashes of brilliance, but even when we had an injury riddled season, Ethan Nwaneri still did not play that much. He didn't start that much. But again, that point for me is moot because I just think Madueke is not going to interfere with Nwaneri's minutes just because of the different positions that they play. And Madueke, he's shown to have a bad attitude, but again, Chelsea's entire team, majority of them have bad attitudes. They argue with each other all the time. So to me, that means nothing. I think it's kind of the culture he grows up in. And also, when you look at Madueke and someone I've been actually looking at even last season, because I really like the player. I like his profile, and he's 6 foot. He's big for a winger. I don't want to say he's pacey, but he's quick. He's quick with his feet. He's quick twitched. He's really quick with his passing. He's got great passing, great crossing. But I mean, people bitch about, we need a backup for Saka. Well, here he is, and now people don't want him. It's just I don't know. I think it's a little disingenuous. But I just think everything that he lacks. I'm not saying none of it's his fault, but I think it's the culture he's brought up in the Chelsea culture. They always argue, And
but he didn't come up in the Chelsea culture.
No, I mean last season. And people talk about Madueke saying how he's inconsistent and he's not 100% every game. Well, if you look at Chelsea last season, they were inconsistent as it gets. They were beating Wolves 6-2, and then the next few games they went the next 3 or 4 games they went on a scoreless drought. So I do think some of the things are justified, but I also think it's just the team he plays for. I think when he comes to Arsenal, he'll be a better player. I think with our culture that we already have instilled, he's not arguing with any. If he argues with anybody over anything, even a free kick, take away a penalty. If he argues over a goal kick, Arteta's subbing him out. This shit's not going to fly. And we've seen that with certain players in the dressing room.
And so in that case, then what do you do with him? Say he does walk up to Bukayo Saka and tries to take the ball.
Again, we wouldn't be in for him. We would, if we were worried about it, we would not be in for him. I'm convinced. It's a lot of money, but for a decent backup winger nowadays, for a team that is striving to win the Premier League, striving to win the Champions League, and are very, very close, you're going to pay that money. He's going to become the best backup right winger in the league. And to back up the best right winger in the league,
I'll give him this.
You can't argue that. And he's 20, and he's 23 too. Like, he still can do. He still has time to develop. He might not even hit his prime yet. And also when Chelsea's playing well, it's mainly because of him. You know, if you look at everything that's going on, he is a very good player for Chelsea, who has 30 or 40 different players on the roster to begin with. So I don't know. I think it's a fantastic deal for us. It's a little pricey, yeah. But if you want to win championships, you want to win trophies, you want to win all these things, we need depth. And we didn't have that last season. And look where it got us. So I don't know. And to be great, and also to be fair too, before we were in for this player, I was a big admirer of his when he was at Chelsea. So I think it's a great signing. I think he's a great player. I'm not saying he's going to take Saka's spot, but he's definitely going to get a lot of minutes, and he's going to get a lot of important minutes. Something that Ethan Nwaneri did not listen. I just said he left one of the wings probably, but he's going to get more important minutes than Ethan Nwaneri did last season when we had injuries on injuries on injuries, and Ethan still didn't play.
I mean, that in itself could be a 20-minute, half-hour-long conversation on that. Who was getting ready to say something? Sorry.
To piggyback on what Ryan said was it was really shocking to me see Sterling play minutes when Nwaneri stayed on the bench.
Yeah.
And that the thing is, you never know what the shit's going on. You know, I saw a very, very faint non-starter story that didn't like how he trained. And now he hasn't signed his contracts. And if we think about it historically, Arteta says sign the contract or you don't play. He's done that a lot with a lot of our players. He did that with Nwaneri, I believe, already. Nwaneri wasn't signing the contract 2-3 years ago, and everybody was talking about him. It's either Nwaneri, another player, but everybody was like, Arteta's gonna fuck this up. He has to play him, and seemingly the optics from the outside is no, you sign and you commit to the Arsenal. You don't do this 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of thing, and you get to play. You don't tell me when to play. You play when you commit to the club. That is really, you're with us or you're against us. So I don't know if that played any part whatsoever, but I just thought it was amazing in which we saw it more than a handful of times in which Raheem Sterling got on the team sheet, not on the team sheet, but he came in as a sub prior to Nwaneri, and for the life of me, I couldn't understand it because it was a circumstance in which one of Odegaard or Saka were injured too. So it was kind of like a slam dunk. Like everybody was like, well, obviously he's going to get some minutes. And here comes fucking Sterling for 15. And you're just left like, what the shit is going on? So I'll give you this, Ryan. Bearded, is that every single time he did appear, dude, that he looks so hungry and so ready for it. More for me, it's like mentality and coping with it physically. Are questions that I have because I don't actually know him. It's not me casting judgment on the player because I don't know the circumstances in which he operates. I'm just simply saying we've seen Maulu Skelly play substantially more. We saw what he could do physically and how he could cope with it. We don't know that of Nwaneri yet because we have such a small sample size of minutes. But it is incredibly insane to me that Raheem Sterling got on prior to Nwaneri. If we had Madueke last season and he got on before Nwaneri, I could at least somewhat justify it in my brain. But because of the history and how bad, for whatever reason, Raheem Sterling was, I could not understand how he was still getting on the pitch prior to Nwaneri. So in my mind, there has to be something that we don't know.
I've been
and I'm not saying I agree.
Show today, I've been thinking about that whole thing. OG, hang on.
I just want to say one thing. I don't agree that Nwaneri is not, but that's Raheem Sterling was coming on before Nwaneri. We are injury riddled, and Nwaneri still didn't play. So again, I'm not saying I agree, but looking at it from the boss's eyes, the signing makes a lot of sense. The signing makes so much sense. But yeah, go Ryan.
Yeah. So the end of the season was weird, right? Like he was not getting on at all. So I don't know what that was all about, and I'm hopeful, to Ryan's point, that Nwaneri is the understudy to Martin Odegaard, because then bringing in Madueke would make sense, because obviously he's not going to be blocking a path for him to play if he's going to be, Martin Odegaard's understudy. For me, honestly, it just depends mostly how the window ends, right? Like if us signing him means we're not getting Eze, or we've priced ourselves out of Rodrygo, then I think people are gonna the pitchforks are gonna be out, because that's when people are gonna be upset. Like, why do we spend money on him and we let Eze go by, and now we don't magically have enough money for Rodrygo? That's when people are gonna be pissed, right? So I'll say this: like, I'm on board with it. Like, I'm not gonna say no to a good player, and Ryan makes great points. Like, he's good. Like, I know, like, he plays for Chelsea, which we hate, but like, he actually, if he didn't play for Chelsea and he came from Brentford, I think people would be, oh, well,
I think a lot of people would agree with that.
They'd understand it and be okay with it a lot more than they are now, right? So it just depends on how the window for me ends, because I'm not going to say no to a good player. I like having competent backup that can come in and actually do something when we need it, right? And Ryan, again, with another great point, like if we're talking about we want to win the Champions League and the Premier League and be competing in all these competitions, like, you're gonna need good players, especially as those competitions go on. There's just, as we've seen these injuries pile up, like there's so many games, and we're gonna have to, and Arteta's gonna have to find a way to rotate. And if he has good players that he can trust, then he will lean into rotation a little bit more, I feel like. So I'm inching closer towards being cool with it. I'll say that.
All right, let me caveat my opinion with one other thought to this, and real Ryan, you made me think of it. If this were the last signing of the summer, if we get,
that's what I was going to just say. Yeah,
if we got Eze in, if we got Rodrygo in, and Mascara gets announced, and Norgard, I think will get announced. Am I missing anybody? Gyökeres, this is going to be, if it takes more than 48 hours at this point to get a confirmation from Fab or Orny, I'd be stunned. But if all of those players come in, and we still spend $40 million on Madueke, I'd still scratch my head at it, but I'd be like, okay, I see what you're doing. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it ain't my money to spend. And real Ryan, you're absolutely right. As I'm pointing at myself, if one of those other players falls through and it's, we couldn't do Rodrygo at 80 million because we've only got 40 million left because we spent half of his fee on a dude that's going to play second fiddle to Bukayo Saka. And for all we know, Arteta, pulls something crazy, and all of a sudden Ethan Nwaneri in preseason dazzles, and he's the backup to Bukayo Saka. That's of course hypothetical, but the Madueke thing is interesting, and I'm not thrilled right now. I wouldn't be thrilled, period, but I would be more accepting and understanding of it if it were the last signing, and it were, hey man, we're just, I'll give a shout out to Glenn. Single point failure, as he liked to say 2 years ago about the backup goalkeeper. If that's what they're thinking, off we go. Who am I? Ain't my money. I don't care. Any last thoughts on Madueke? Anyone?
No, I mean, a little, just
go for it, man.
Just a nudge, he said.
Real Ryan, if you need to bail out,
I'll let you know. We're good. Yeah, we're good.
All right.
No, I lost train of thought. He was one of their best players last season. Like I think, and like the fact that he's going to take on the same wages, which is 50,000. Like, I think he's going to have like bonuses and stuff. But like, how this is like such a, like, for me, people saying, why are we doing this? Why are Chelsea doing this? They're selling one of their best players to us. We started, again, their roster is stacked. They have like 3 or 4 players for every position. And
come on, man. They've got 17 more wingers they have to go by.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Purchase another 5. I just checked because I forgot about the table. It is, if you just simply said we bought a starting player from a top 4 club and you removed Chelsea, I feel like people would be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so who did we buy? Talk to me. I think this is just tainted blue. It's just tainted blue, and people don't like it.
I just want to clarify that it is not for me. I could not give two shits where he comes from.
Yeah.
If he can help the team, I'm all for it. I said that about Harry Kane at the start of the show. 5 years ago, he'd have made us a better team. That's like there's that. I would never take Harry Kane at Arsenal. Does he make Arsenal a better team? Not now. Yeah. I'm saying, five years ago. But if he makes us better, then yeah. And so I don't wholeheartedly disagree with what OG is saying here. So anyway, again, Brian,
just trying to finish off. Just he played 32 Premier League games out of 38 games, and that's with Chelsea's 50-player squad. So he's obviously important to them.
50 players.
So the fact that he's leaving a top 4 club to come to us, and he knows he's not unseating Saka. I mean, in his competitive brain, I'm sure he's like, oh, I'm going to compete and I'm going to try to unseat him. But like, he knows what he's in for. I just think it's great business. And like, I know a lot of people in the comments and a lot of people I've seen on Twitter and other social medias, they say like, oh, why are we helping Chelsea? I don't give a fuck about Chelsea. I care about us. We're making us better. I talked this on another show recently, and I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know if it's like an English thing or it could just be a universal thing. But me growing up, I never cared about any other team. I cared about my team and my team only. I don't care if this team's getting better that team. As long as we're getting better, I don't care. I don't care if we're helping out this team or helping out that team. If we're getting help and we're getting better, that's all that matters to me. So like, I don't care that we're giving them money to potentially sign Kudos, which someone said in the chat. Like, we're getting better. They could sign Kudos.
He's going to Tottenham anyways. That's what he said.
Well, yeah, that's apparently what's going to happen. But like, it's an example.
That hurts my heart, by the way.
I know. I like.
But yeah, but also, yeah. I mean, I think another big thing, and you guys hit the nail on the head. I think it's the order of operations, as they say. I think the fact that we're signing him first as our attacker, people are upset about. But yep. I think he's just. I do believe he's, and it has been said by Romero. It has been said by Ornstein. This deal has nothing to do with Eze. It has nothing to do with potentially Rodrygo. Nothing to do with a striker situation. So it's a very good signing. He's a bonus signing, so it's tough. But then again, like, if you look at a window, 9 times out of 10, your big signings are last. We signed Ozil last. I think we signed Alexis Sanchez kind of late too. All these players that have came into the club and made big moves, like big things for us, we sign them late because the biggest, especially attackers, the bigger signings are going to take time. It's a bunch of dotting I's, crossing T's, the money, and like when you deal with higher volumes of money, it's gonna be, you're gonna quibble over a couple million. It's gonna happen. Whereas when you deal with a player that, I mean, to be fair, I think Madueke is a fairly big deal, but it's obviously not gonna be our biggest deal this summer. So I feel like if you get deals done, you get them done. And I think the easier deals are going to be quicker, and they're going to be, Zubimendi was done 6 months ago. The Kepa deal was done, which seemed like the Kepa was announced, and then it happened a couple days later. I mean, Norgard was quick. So I mean, and like we're still waiting to hear about our striker, which we've been in, we've been talking to for apparently like 2 or 3 years now. So yeah, these easy deals are going to be easy. They're going to be quick, and these people need to shut the fuck up and not panic. That's
agreed.
Yeah,
but hashtag content, Ryan. I want to complain.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
What did you say? Hashtag what?
I said, content. But hashtag content.
Right. Most important.
Yeah.
Totally agree with Ryan and Tanner here. As I truly think that if Šeško or Gyökeres and Rodrygo, if that's who it is, were the first signings, everybody would be looking at these players. Norgard, great cake topper. Madueke, cake topper. Oh my God, we're adding depth. And I think we get caught up, and it's easy to get caught up because you're a supporter and you, as Ryan said, been wanting a striker for the last 2-3 years. you're just kind of like, oh, fucking come on, get it over with, get it over the line. And because we're getting everything but that, everybody's like losing their shit. But window's still fresh, and we're clearly working on the striker. And so we'll see how it plays out. But totally with you guys as far as the order of operation is having a great impact on how people are viewing this window.
If you want, you guys, if the chat, you guys want, we could sign Garnacho, leave Madueke. I mean, or we could who's an old winger that's in a team right now.
I guarantee you Garnacho's at least on 200K. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's on minimum of 200K in United.
It's or if you guys want, if you really care about everything, we could take Raheem Sterling on loan again. I mean, because that's who was playing when Saka was hurt. Not Ethan Nwaneri. Ethan Nwaneri wasn't playing. So.
All right, so Mikey wants to move on to Rodrygo, and I like it. Mike, this is a deal that I very, very, very much want to see happen. Real quick, I wanted to say this. The final word on the Madueke thing. I was listening to Arsenal Vision earlier, and Clive made a very good point about Madueke. If he can provide quality minutes and Bukayo Saka does not have to run the tires off like he did last year to the tune of a bout of leprosy where he pulled his hamstring, pulled it right off.
Yeah, I have a question. If anyone wants to look it up, or it's bored, probably not us because we'll be talking, but I'm curious how many games Saka finished. Because it seems like also like Saka always came off with like a limp. Like he never really got hurt, but I feel like he was always coming off limping and hurt because he was getting, maybe to be fair, he was getting kicked and stuff. So like if Saka's never playing 90 minutes, like I want Madueke. Like that's just to me it's a no-brainer. But sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, Rodrygo. Mikey, I think you're on board with Rodrygo. I'm on board with Rodrygo. OG doesn't seem to be on board with Rodrygo, but I think OG Ryan, you might just be like playing FIFA and trying to find like random dudes that nobody's ever heard of and like, see, look at me. No, I'm just kidding. I said that earlier today on Twitter. Real Ryan, where do you come down on Rodrygo? Mike, you wanted to bring something up about him, but let me bring Real Ryan in.
I don't know if Real Ryan wants to incorporate it in the conversation, but I see a lot of Rodrygo being mentioned, and I would just wanted to, because I can't remember. I think OG Ryan for sure is big at Martinelli. I know that I've been questioning I've been questioning and asking for an upgrade for 2 years on the left wing. And so my question to you guys is, or to you, Real Ryan, is it you've always admired the player, or is it you've kind of always wanted a left wing upgrade? Because, sometimes as supporters, and I'm guilty of this, is you could be perfectly fine with Kai Havertz until Šeško's on the table. You could be fine with Martinelli until you hear us linked to Rodrygo, and you're like, all of a sudden, I don't like Martinelli all that much. So I'm not going to say I'm a full-out Martinelli hater, because by all means, I love him to death. But I do often find myself wanting substantially more from him in the final third. So I just wanted to gauge your answering first, Ryan. So have at it if you like. But I just wanted to know the rest of you guys, if you guys felt that we need an upgrade prior to this, or is this a shiny new toy type of situation where you're like, hey, he's on the table now. Now I definitely want him.
Yeah, so I think I'm siding on more of the latter part of your question there. Is I want something different, and I think that might end up being the upgrade we're looking for. It doesn't necessarily have to be Rodrygo, but it feels like that's the one that we're most linked to. A lot of names are getting thrown out, on the left wing. People were saying it could be Rafa Leao, it could be, obviously Rodrygo, it could be, Gittins was floating out there for a little bit. And I love Martinelli so much. I think he works hard both ways. Like, he loves the club, which are things that are really important to me. He does the dirty work defensively. We'll see him tracking back 89th, 90th minute, just busting the gut, to put a tackle in there. But for me, just I guess I feel like his game really hasn't evolved when he really hit the scene, and we saw him, shot monster, scoring a lot of goals. I think there's a lot more variety, maybe even. I don't know, maybe Mikel coached it out of him and they only want him to do things a certain way. But I'm looking for, someone that can get more on the interior, beat a man, and just a little bit more variety in their dribbling. And, I don't want to say higher IQ, but I just feel like there's times when, we're just really frustrated by the end product. And I still feel like there's promise, but, if we're thinking about it's possible to upgrade there, then I'm excited about it. Now, if it's Rodrygo, I think he's amazing. I know he didn't really have, the season he wanted at Madrid. And, he's been saying, or we know that he's been playing out of position in his mind. And it's hard to compete when you got Vinny and Mbappe up there. And it feels like, he's having to carry some of the water for them because they get to kind of strut around and do their thing. So, I mean, I like the idea that we're linked to him, but I just know this is going to be one that probably goes to the bell, and I don't know if our fans can stomach it, honestly. So, I don't know how much he'll want to be paid. It just feels like one of those crazy sagas, and we're dealing with Madrid, and we already kind of know the PR which goes on with them. So, if it was easy, I'd be all for it. But I just feel like it's going to be a frustrating one, and I'm not sure we'll even be able to get it over the line. But I do like the player, but more importantly, I want something different on the left, a guy that can, beat a man, make the defenses rotate, open up different combinations than what we currently have. So, even though I love Martinelli, I swear.
OG, you want to take that question?
Yeah. So, despite what Mike is putting around his harmless propaganda, not harmless, but I am not a huge Martinelli
propaganda.
fan. I'm not the biggest Martinelli guy. I like him more than certain people on this podcast that I don't want to name. Was it? Yeah, I think BX said this. I'm sorry, this chat's going so quick. BX said it perfectly. Martinelli is a perfect squad player, and I think he is. And it's tough because I think he kind of came up with Saka. So when people see Martinelli, they're like, oh, well, he came up with Saka. Like he's going to be just as good as Saka. That's obviously not happening. I think Martinelli's a good player. He's not a great player. I think he definitely deserves a spot on this team. I think he earned a spot on this team. I think he's good enough for us winning trophies. He's not good enough to be in the starting 11 for us right now. So we 100% need an upgrade on the left wing, in my opinion. I don't think Leo's the answer. I wanted to sell Leo last summer because I think we were going to get a lot of money for him. He played very well for us. A lot of people did not want to sign him. He scored a lot of important goals for us. And now people, he had a little bit of a drop this season, but he's still decent. So hopefully we can, get some money from Saudi Arabia or somewhere because I heard 35 million and I got my dancing shoes on. But yeah, so I definitely want an upgrade on left wing. I don't want Rodrygo. I'm just, I don't know, not a huge fan. And honestly, I kind of can relate it to the Madueke thing. It's too much money. I don't understand. 90 million is crazy. I don't think he's worth 90 million. He barely played last season. He did not have a good season last season. I get it. The 2 seasons before, he was great. He was awesome. But I'm not paying 90 million for a guy who barely played last season. When, especially in my opinion, I think there are better players out there. I really wanted Gittins. That was someone I really wanted. I wanted somebody with pace. I wanted someone that could, just run at teams, which Martinelli could do. Problem is when Martinelli got to the 18-yard box, he was like a middle school kid trying to talk to a girl at a dance. So it was rough. But yeah, I like Gittins, but obviously Gittins is now a Chelsea player. But yeah, I think there are other players there, like a Rafael Leao. Trying to think. Honestly, I don't hate like a Cody Gakpo type profile. I wouldn't want to buy him from Liverpool. Nico Williams is someone. Obviously, I know we're not signing Nico Williams, but I liked him more. I can't pronounce his name for the life of me, but I love the left winger from PSG.
Okay.
Yeah. Kavard.
And he's young. He's 24. Apparently, we were in for him a couple of years ago.
They've also been linked with Rodrygo. So if that allows us to bid on Barcola or Duo, that's not bad business for us either. If Rodrygo does end up going,
he is not going anywhere. Barcola would be the one. Probably
the one. I agree, Ryan.
So the only time I would actually be like, okay, give me Rodrygo, is if we seriously put a bid in for Anthony Gordon. I'll take Rodrygo over Anthony Gordon.
Yeah.
That's
That's
about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I just think the money again, and I guess this is kind of where I'm being like with my financials is, yeah, I think we don't need to pay that much for a left winger. I mean, granted, he'd be a starting left winger, but when you're bringing in a player like Eze, and let's face it, I think, I mean, I guess I'll ask you guys this question. I think I know Mike's answer. Who do you think is better, Madueke or Martinelli?
Oh, you
man.
See, all right. Well, you guys can answer this, but I'm just going to quickly end this and just say, for me, it's easily Madueke. I think Madueke just offers us more. He could dribble, he could pass. He's maybe not as fast as Martinelli, but if all Martinelli has on him is speed, like I'm going to take Madueke 10 times out of 10. Yeah, I don't know. I think Madueke can play his position. I think Eze could play his position. That's why, like, I'm not too fussed about spending. I don't really care if we get Rodrygo. I don't need to spend the 90 million. But if we're like hell bent on getting a left winger and Eze has nothing to do with it, if Madueke has nothing to do with it, our striker obviously has nothing to do with it, then yeah, let's bring somebody in. But Rodrygo is definitely not my first choice. I'm just I don't know. And when I see him play, I'm just, I don't know, not a huge fan of him. And if anybody wants a better analysis of him, you should check out Mike's podcast. No, it's not a podcast. Brilliant Kelly does a good job kind of laying the groundwork out on why he doesn't like Rodrygo. And, Kelly's a smart guy. So I'm usually, when he talks, I listen. And I 100% agree with everything Kelly had to say. I think it was, Mike, if I'm wrong, it could have been your last show or your second to last show where you talked about Rodrygo. And I thought he broke it down kind of perfectly. And I'm in the same camp. I don't see it. I don't. And then, listen, I hope we sign him, and I hope he proves me wrong. I do, but I think that money could be potentially allocated elsewhere. But given all the news that's leaking, how the left wing, the Rodrygo signing won't impact the Eze signing, the Eze signing won't impact the left wing signing, or the Madueke signing. Then all right, if we got the money, then sure, let's splash the cash like we're in the strip club. That's fine too. But I just think there's better left wingers out there for us.
I have difficult believing that none of these deals impact other deals. And
right.
Yeah, I exactly. I agree.
Because it's not the history, right? Because we are seemingly the only team not willing to sell the women's team to each other to skirt PSR. And so we're seemingly one of the only clubs that care about FFP. So just based on the history of the club, I don't feel like I just started writing down names. Norga, Zubi, Gyökeres, and then Ryan, for you, Arrizabalaga. He's already, aka Kepa. He's already.
There's a flurry of activity below the camera right now.
There you go. So you got Madueke, Rodrygo, Eze. Dude, we're talking about that's 7 players.
It's like $300 million, isn't it? Something crazy like that.
Yeah, like unless you're buying into the idea that Saudi is really genuinely offering $85 million for Martinelli. Again, crazier things have happened in the world of football. It's just, and I've been watching Arsenal since I was 6, 7, and and I know times have changed, but we've never been that club to be like, hey, we're just gonna go buy over half of a squad. That's just, I'm just going based on history, and maybe I'm being a little pessimistic on that one. I'm compensating for how optimistic I've been with all the signings, but I think it's asking for a lot, and maybe I'm doing that thing in which I'm tailoring my own expectations so that I'm not upset at the end of the window. On the left wing thing, just going based on a little bit on what Ryan said, OG Ryan, is for me, when I entered this transfer window, the left wing was kind of the least of my priorities. It was bottom of the barrel. So if I'm prioritizing, and Real Ryan suggested that Rodrygo might be at the very end of the window, I'm okay with it being at the very end of the window, assuming Madueke is done, potentially Eze's done, and then fuck it, if you could figure out Rodrygo, you could go do your thing. But it's not a priority for me. And this is coming from somebody that has publicly stated that he gets very fucking frustrated with Martinelli. Very frustrated with his final third.
His dartboard has Martinelli's head on it. True story.
It's just funny because I don't watch enough I say this a lot. I watch Milan and I watch Arsenal. I don't watch other teams. So the time that I get to watch other players is twice when they play Arsenal, if they start. And I haven't seen on Madueke, but I just did a quick Google search just for SNGs, and Martinelli had more goals and assists than Madueke last season. And
God,
I mean,
here
hey, I'm just doing the 2-second Google search scouting video here, man. I'm just, but I don't know them well. I will say, I don't know Madueke's off the ball thing, and I know I started off the podcast saying I don't focus on it much, but I think it's too noticeable. It's too in your face to not notice that Martinelli runs his fucking ass off. And I've always said this to a lot of people because, like, I've seen Thomas Partey start at like the right back position, and I've seen Nwaneri not start, and I've seen certain things that maybe are controversial or at least split the fan base 50-50. And I've always said this, like, the one thing that all supporters, every single supporter, including myself, has to kind of understand and accept to a certain way is that Arteta has his own ways of looking at football, and we don't know the direction that he's given the players. So for all we know, Martinelli's doing exactly what the shit Arteta's asking him to do. Maybe our old design is for our main source of attack to go through the right hand side with Saka. I don't know. That's
definitely the plan, but it's just, again, it's when Martinelli gets to that. I mean, you know better than anyone else. When he gets anywhere near that 18-yard box, you're like, dude, what? Like, you're just like dumbfounded.
Please look up. Yes.
Like, what?
Please. Yes.
And that's not Arteta.
Yeah.
Yes, the constant right wing activity, the ball going to the right side. Yeah, that's us. But when he has that ball on the 18-yard, I'm like, dude, what?
I don't know.
And he's missed a lot of, important chances for us.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute, and then I think we should probably move on to Gyökeres just to kind of keep it moving here because we're at about an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know that it's not Arteta, because when we see Martinelli get that far down the wing and he gets to the 18-yard box, where's everybody else? And it maybe it is Arteta. Hey, I don't want you going one-on-one against anybody. I don't care how clear you are. That's not what I want.
He's too fast for his own good.
Well, and he's definitely too fast for his own good. He's absolutely too fast for his own good. And Mike said it perfectly. Look up, please. But Mike,
he said it perfectly. Look
up here. What's he going to see when he does? He's not going to see much because he's one of the fastest players on the team. And how many times have you guys all heard me say that this team has a tendency to choreograph everything?
Yeah,
it is all
that's modern football for you.
It's all a dance. It's all a routine. It's okay. On count 8, you've got to be here, and you're going to do this on this beat, and you're going to put this foot over here. It's a dance routine almost anymore. So you get a player like a Martinelli, who, Mike, I share in your frustration, but I also kind of look at a player like him and like, does he just not fit with a team that plays, like you just said, this modern choreographed style of football? And it's like he gets down there and then all of a sudden he stops, puts his foot on the ball, and he's like, now what? Now what do I do? Like, you don't want me to go in and try to score. You want me to wait for everybody because you want the layup. You want the dude at the back post that's not being marked to just, turn his foot to redirect the ball into the net. What do you want me to do? I got down here. I'm waiting for everybody else. I did my part. That the Martinelli thing. I'm 100% with you, Mike, on the frustration, but I'm frustrated at both the system and him, because I also do think that he does look up. When he does, he tends to dribble himself into a corner. I don't think he quite understands that those white lines that he has to play within are like invisible defenders to him. I don't know that he quite gets that, because
I don't think he's a bad player, and I know that this is said before, and BX Schooner brought this up. Martinelli did look different fresh under Ancelotti with Brazil. Ancelotti with Real Madrid counterattacking fast football, exploiting the wings with Mbappe, Rodrygo, Vini Jr. So I think it's a fair assessment to say potentially he's a great player and maybe not a great player for us. It's like that simple. And just thinking about it, I forgot to include this point when I first answered was, if there's any indication whatsoever that even Mikel Arteta might potentially want to be moving on from him, is that we've been linked with left wings for 3 windows now. Because we were ready to throw 100 million on doping Mudryk. We were willing to push the boat out on Nico Williams, and we are now currently revisiting Nico Williams in January. That failed, and now revisiting Rodrygo. And maybe you could say it's an opportunistic type of signing, but I'm just saying that's 3 different left wingers, and it's not because Edu and Berta are like, hey, you listen, Arteta, you are going to get a new left winger, because we know that's not how things work on the club. So it has to come from somewhere, is all I'm saying. That's me speculating. Yeah. I know fuck about shit.
No, it's a good point, though.
So the news broke today of Gyökeres. Clubs are very close. Transfer Checker on X basically saying that the valuation is roughly 4 million apart. I think he said pounds. I don't think he said euros. I think it was 4 million pounds apart. Then comes out from Fabrizio Romano that Gyökeres has offered to give up 2 million pounds somewhere to facilitate the deal. If that, then Arsenal say we'll kick in the other 2 million to you, whatever that means. So at any rate, I guess the long and the short of it is, I was a Gyökeres guy from the beginning. I would not have been disappointed with Šeško, but I'm not looking. OG, I said this on like one of our first shows back. My opinion on Šeško was he's still very, very raw. I think that Šeško has, I don't know that he has quite the upside that Gyökeres has, but I think there's a potential for him to be a bust. And I think Gyökeres has shown that, yes, I know it's the Portuguese league. They're farmers and painters over there. I get it. But he's still, 60 plus goal contributions. And I want the guy that's all but the finished product. I don't want a guy that we're going to bring in and be like, well, we hope he fits and we hope that he can reach the potential. Where we have to now be done buying potential. We need to now be buying all but the finished product, integrating them into the team, obviously, and then hope for the best. Nothing is a sure thing when you're coming from a different league. Real Ryan, I don't know your take on Šeško versus Gyökeres. It looks like it will be Gyökeres within the next 48 hours. What say you?
Šeško's a weird one, right? Because I feel like that's the guy we've been chasing, right, for the second summer in a row. And I just don't know what happened. Obviously, I know, we've changed sporting directors, and, there's articles coming out that they were comfortable with, was it Jason Ayton or the guy that just went to Newcastle, and obviously Edu, and Birds is a little bit different, and maybe talks just aren't going as well. But it feels like, I don't know how we had this many talks or whatever you want to say, and I feel like there's nothing there. And Ornstein never really talked about Šeško that much, so it's just like, it's very strange how the last couple summers with him have gone. My big thing, and this is something that I've talked about this before, is I want people that want to play for us. So for some reason, if Šeško's not saying like, I don't give a fuck, like, get this done, like,
I want like volunteers, not hostages. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, but I'm saying it just seems like he's not really pushing, and I don't know. He lost a lot of leverage when he re-signed the contract with Leipzig, so it seems messy, and it looks like it's obviously not going to happen. And the only reason why I was leaning towards Šeško is because that's the guy that I thought that we wanted. Obviously, Gyökeres' numbers are insane, right? So you're not going to sit here and say that he wasn't putting up, fantastic numbers. Obviously, a league that isn't as powerful as the Premier League, but I think he probably is more ready-made to do something now, and that seems like kind of how we're operating. Is that these next few years are going to be really important. It feels like if we don't bring home something, the whole project's going to fall apart. So, with that being said, I'm on board with it, and he's trying by hook or by crook to make it happen. And I think he's going to come in and really want to prove a point. I think he'll be great. I mean, if we can have Mikel Moreno scoring 9 goals in 17 games and being quite a potent striker, I think he's going to come in and be just fine. So I'm on board. I'm happy. And I've gone back and forth on I wasn't going to fault the club on whoever they chose and say they made a huge mistake. So I'm just glad it's finally getting done. And I feel like what's different now in the past, I feel like we would have chased Šeško all summer. Not Gyökeres would have went to United. The Šeško thing would have fell through, and we would have signed Ollie Watkins, and everyone would have been losing their shit. So cool. Like if it's Gyökeres, great, and if it gets done, like you said, soon, I'm there and I'm for it.
OG.
It's funny you brought that a little bit up about Ollie Watkins. I actually would be happy with selling Ollie Watkins. Boyhood Arsenal fan, a Premier League proven player. It's so funny. So, I mean, real quick, I've been constantly going back and forth, and I firmly planted my flag in the Šeško camp, and everyone's laughing, and I should probably put chat probably. Chat dubs all around. I planted my flag in the Šeško camp, and honestly, since then, I don't want to say love for the player, but my love for the deal and just what it would do for the club and like how it sets us up is good. And especially after Arteta made the comment of like, oh, Kai Havertz is starting at 9 week 1 of the season, and he's something like that. I really think Arteta wants Kai to play minutes as our striker, and Kai is he might be the highest paid player at Arsenal right now. I might be wrong. So either he's the highest or he's like top 3.
He's up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you would think he's going to play minutes, right? So that's why I thought for sure we're gonna get Šeško, play the potential route, and because I do think especially now like with Madueke, with Eze, with potentially a new left winger if we sell one, I think Kai Havertz can win us a trophy. I think Ollie Watkins can win us a trophy. I don't know about Gyökeres. I don't know about Šeško. They're both unknown quantities to me. They both have not played in the Premier League. So I was nervous. So I was like, yeah, give me the younger guy who's more athletic. But now that it's looking like it's Gyökeres, unless it's another change of course, which would be pretty crazy, just to bait Leipzig into lowering their price. Because apparently that's the thing now. At first I thought they couldn't agree. They couldn't agree with Šeško for personal details and like wages and stuff. And apparently he wants a release clause, all that mumbo jumbo. But now I'm hearing Leipzig want $1 million, or they want 100 million or something like that. So I don't know what it is, but regardless, they're being tough. He's being tough. That's fine. We'll go Gyökeres. Again, I am nervous. Not Premier League proven. But again, with the squad we're bringing in and with the players we're signing up, if this manager, this sporting director, this hierarchy believes in Gyökeres, then I'm going to trust them. I'm as bored as I want to be. And to be fair, I mean, this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I do like it. I do like it. And again, I can't stop shouting out Mike's podcast enough, but I can't stop. I'm waxing lyrical about Kelly, but every time Kelly does this to end the show, I just get a little excited. Like I don't know why. I giggle like a little schoolgirl. Maybe because I just love Kelly, which if this isn't apparent enough, Kelly, I love you.
Aren't you both married?
Yeah. Well, he's got more kids, but yeah,
it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird.
I mean, listen, long distance relationships work out sometimes, between two healthy men. Anyways, healthy. That's funny. Anyways, no. But yeah, no, yeah. So I mean, I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna accept it, and I'm gonna trust my club. But I think the only thing that's I don't want to see leaving a bad taste in my mouth, but like a different taste is just I was so excited for our striker signing, and now like with our Madueke links, our Eze links, a potential upgrade in left wing. Norgard, people aren't excited. I'm probably more excited than most people about the Norgard signing. Zubimendi. Striker to me just isn't important anymore. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, bring someone in that can score goals. Like, fine, I guess. And I mean, also too, like the whole interview again with Arteta saying like Havertz is going to play striker for us to start the season. Kind of makes me think that he wasn't too thrilled about. He wasn't thrilled about it, but not just he didn't prioritize striker. Because we have a striker apparently, and it's Kai Havertz, which I don't think he's bad, but he's not a major. He's a second striker type player. But yeah,
Mike, Šeško, Gyökeres.
I want to normalize being a positive supporter as I sometimes see myself. I want to normalize being positive and still being able to be critical, because I feel like people put themselves in the boat where, like, for example, just Norgard, right? Like I didn't hear anybody mention him other than the see you next Tuesday they tried hurting Martinelli prior to him signing with us, and then as soon as he signed with us, oh my God, this is the perfect replacement. We're so smart like a club, and I feel like it's okay to say, hey man, he's a Brentford player and he's a good backup, and we're not going to overhype him. So I entered this window. I literally said, and I'm recording saying I don't give two shits whether it's Gyökeres or Šeško. My feelings towards the deal and how everything played out are slightly could be perceived negative, if you will, because I do think that the club sacrificed a lot in January for the Šeško deal to happen. Like you essentially, in my view, and look, football, nothing's guaranteed, but going into a Champions League, still within touching distance of the league, and say, fuck it, we're not going to sign a striker because this guy's coming in summer, baby. Like, this is going to happen. And then the summer comes through, and you're respecting the club desires, you're respecting the players' desires, and you're kissing all this public ass for nearly what seems like 2 years to not land the deal. Yeah. I just think it's a piss poor viewing for Arsenal, like, publically.
But you don't think that was Gyökeres either?
What was that?
Like, you don't think so you're saying it was just Šeško? Like, you can't say this, because what if we were looking at Šeško? What if you don't think we were looking at Gyökeres last year? Maybe it was Gyökeres we were wanting. Maybe it wasn't Šeško.
I could only go based on links in my memory, and I can't remember us like consistently drilling, as I like to say, publicly dry humping. Yeah, I don't remember us publicly dry humping Gyökeres. I genuinely don't remember it.
I think we were linked with them, but I don't think it was as excessive as Šeško.
I think the Gyökeres link started before the Šeško links did. I feel like the Gyökeres links started a year ago.
I thought it was assumed that he was going to go to United with Amorim.
Oh, maybe.
No. I mean,
I know.
I feel like I heard the Gyökeres links before that even happened.
They were. So it was June of this year. Romano pretty much tweeted like Gyökeres United is like 99% done. So United fans were like freaking out, talking shit to us because we didn't land Šeško yet, obviously. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I agree with what you're saying, Mike. But again, I also think we could have been waiting because we were linked with Gyökeres before this summer and before January. So I think it could have been either or. But I agree with you. And that's what makes this thing so weird, because I would have loved Ollie Watkins. Like right now, if you tell me we sign all the players that we've talked about tonight and we get Ollie Watkins, yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Childhood Arsenal fan. He's Villa's best player. He scores goals and he assists them. He's perfect. Problem is, we could have got him on a pretty good deal in January, and we chose not to. And it fucked us because we were a Thomas Partey yellow card away from making a Champions League final, and we, got second place because we just couldn't keep up injury wise with a Liverpool team that on a good day caught a cold. Like, there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, no, that's basically the biggest. Like, I'm disappointed because I feel like this club, not gonna say more often than not, but a lot of times tends to fail at the actual player that Mikel Arteta wants. And there's some good examples and some bad examples. I shared those with Ryan. It's like he wanted Martinez, he didn't want Zinchenko. He wanted Šeško, he didn't want Gyökeres. What else, Ryan? I forgot a few. He wanted Mudryk, he didn't want Trossard.
So but doesn't that that kind of money though? Like if Arsenal said, okay, then you can have 90 million, you can go get Mudryk. But like we were like, no, we're not doing that. So like, is that the issue?
I think honestly, Ryan, I think my biggest issue is what was sacrificed. What I perceive to be sacrificed. Let me rephrase that. What I perceive to be given up for the club, given up on a season to secure this player and to respect the player's agent, the player, the club so much, only for that club to turn around and spit on the gentleman agreement that they had, spit on the respect that we showed and everything. So I'm just disappointed that optics, I guess, that the club didn't land the target that I believe to be 100% the target that they wanted. That's just how I'm perceiving it. All of this just to say I'm perfectly fine with Gyökeres. I feel like both have their own risk, but most of the time, again, hey, I'm not trying to steal Kelly from you, Ryan, OG Ryan. I'm just going to suggest this. Kelly brings up some really good points, and one point that he often says that any striker signing, especially anything that's over like the 60 million mark, you're taking a fucking gamble. There's Declan Rice was the guarantee in midfield. Haaland was the guaranteed as striker, and he's already in Manchester City. There's few players in which you could purchase. We mentioned Kvaratskhelia earlier. No guarantee that he hits the ground 100% money. Exactly. You start spending 70, 80 million, you are banking on silly quality to take you over the line. At least the way, I'm going to say Kelly, convinced me to look at things. So both come with risk. 27 years old coming into the league. He's played in the championship, so he's not unfamiliar with the environment. I'm sure he didn't play top Premier League football, but there's reason to believe that, he's good. And, somebody said, like, even if he's half as good, my brother in Christ, he scores like fucking 40, 50 goals a season. Okay, fine.
One season.
What was it? One season? Is it 100 goals in 3 seasons, right? Something like that. Something silly like that. So 33. I'm sorry, Ryan. 1 season is not good enough for you. I'm sorry. My apologies. Are you aware that I think Gabriel Jesus has only cracked double digits once for us, I believe. I
will counter argue. I will say I don't think Gabriel Jesus was a good signing for us, but that's been the conversation altogether.
You monster. I'm happy. Look, I'm not upset. I'm just venting here. I just think that I didn't develop like a massive, inkling that I wanted one or the other. I just thought it's crazy that the club, in my eyes, of course, sacrificed so much last season. And was unwilling, they respected, and maybe they thought if we could sign Watkins right now for 20-30 million, right at the cut price that they wanted, maybe they thought if we could do this, powder dry FC, add that one to the live chat. We were coming up with some different ideas of how we moderate transfers. Maybe they said we could spend X amount on Watkins and still potentially tie down Šeško, and then Gabriel Jesus ends up leaving potentially, and the rest is history. But I don't know. It's difficult to tell. I'm disappointed.
No, I agree. It feels like right now at Šeško, like this is the first time we've actually made contact. But we know that we tried to get him last year, and he didn't want to come in because Havertz was there and didn't know if he could unseat him. He re-ups his contract. I think we even tried maybe if we could get him out of there in January. Okay, it doesn't work. And then this summer, it's like this is the first time we talked to him. I think we even invited his agent to the corporate boxes against Newcastle at the end of the season. So it's just like this is all we have to show for it. It just feels like, it's the first time we've ever talked, like no offer, no nothing. Like, not even Ornstein's really said anything about Šeško this entire time. So it's a very strange thing. And I agree with you that if we kept the powder dry thinking that this was going to happen and it didn't, that's, something that I think is a little concerning. Now we'll end up, it looks like, with Gyökeres, and hopefully we're very happy with that. But it's very strange to work on a target that it seems like you want for this long. And it's just like we've gotten absolutely nowhere. And I think we've actually gone a little bit backwards, which is crazy. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The only argument I could give to both of you is just, like, I would like to think that we have multiple targets. Like, I would like to think the way football has evolved over the years and the way we play in particular, because we're so structured, that we don't need one. There's not one player that solves our issues. It's multiple players. And like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I would like to think that, we kind of had a couple cookies in a couple jars. And I think the Šeško thing was just so public because of, like you said, we invited his agent over into a box. And to me, out of all the strikers we were linked with over the last year or two, I do think Šeško had the most promise, the biggest upside, the biggest ceiling. And yeah, I mean, things happen though. I mean, it's with any deal. I think, you have to, and I think that's the I don't know if you want to say fun or not so fun thing about European football is you got to make a deal with the player, then you got to make a deal with an agent, then you got to make a deal with a club. There's a lot of hurdles to get through when it comes to signing a player, and I think a gesture of Arsenal's of inviting the agent to a game in a box. It's just you're whining and dining your target, and I'm sure we've wined and dined a lot of targets over the years that doesn't make news for whatever reason, and I just would like to think that there was just other targets out there, and to Mike's point about how he said what Arteta wanted first, we got. I'm just gonna quickly say exactly what you said. So you said, we wanted Mason Mount. We got Kai Havertz. To me, I think that's a win. I think Mason Mount kind of sucks. I don't really like him. I don't think he's a good player. But whatever. We move. Martinez over Zinchenko. Martinez is a prick. I don't want him anywhere near this club. Thank God. Zinchenko was good for a season. He helped us, kind of start the uptrend, and started kind of the tactics that Arteta has kind of put into place as a club, like kind of the inverted midfielder that Lewis Skelly's doing a fantastic job doing. Calafiori is just I think he is a player to watch out for. If he stays healthy, he is going to transform this club. But, okay. Mudryk over Trossard, win. Mudryk, is banned for football 4 years, probably ended his career because of doping. Watkins and nothing. Yeah, that's probably my biggest regret last season was us not signing Watkins. The one thing I will definitely agree with you on is the Raya Ramsdale thing, which yes, we ended up getting Raya in the end, but yes, Arteta loved Raya. And what's our goalkeeper's coach name? Iñaki. Yeah. He loved Raya. We wanted Raya, and we didn't want him. We got Ramsdale. To be honest, when we got Ramsdale, I thought Ramsdale was phenomenal. I think he was a great player. He's a character. He was very lively. He had personality, and that's kind of what I like in a goalkeeper. And he's a fantastic shot stopper. Now, when we got Raya, I realized, okay, Ramsdale's probably not that good, and Raya is amazing. And then, yeah, the last one we just brought up, Šeško, Gyökeres. Yeah, I mean, I just want to live in a world you're going to live in your world, Mike, and I'm going to live in my world. And my world is we have multiple targets, and you win some, you lose some, you wine and dine, and not everything works out. And I think when you're a big club, and yes, Mike, I said a big club, we're able to have multiple. Yeah,
whole other podcast.
Yes, it is. But when you're a big club like us, you have the opportunity to wine and dine multiple suitors, multiple players, that can potentially fit, the cog in this wheel that we call a football team.
Yeah, good, lively, spirited conversation there, boys. That was good. I'm going to put the final word out there on Gyökeres, Šeško. It seems like I'm getting the guy I wanted. So I do agree with OG that I think you have multiple targets, and look, you're probably no good at that job if you're not trying to play both ends against the middle. If you're not trying to bounce things off of all of your targets. So, ultimately with Šeško, the biggest sticking point for me with him is that the release clause. We're not a stepping stone.
I really want to know if that's true or not. Like I'm like dying to know because apparently it's not true. But I don't know.
If it is true, well, regardless, it does not appear as though he's going to be an Arsenal player. And like I said, if it's got, I'm gonna throw this out there.
And real quick, you want to know why? You want to know why we're not signing him? Because he won a release clause. Because you know why, Mike? We're a big club. Keep going, Senator.
Mike,
Anyways,
I promise you'll get a rebuttal another time. So
fair play.
He'll get a buttle, right? Anyways,
what was I
Sorry.
lost my train of thought.
Hey, shout out to Gyökeres for trying harder to make it to Arsenal.
Yeah, and again,
lowering wages.
It
public
like,
statements with his agent, and Šeško just sat back and said, "No, agent, you play polite."
And
his barber said how he's coming. Like that's
but it does seem like Šeško like you
love your barber.
Back, but if the release clause thing is true, so he's like, I will come play for you, but I want to be able to walk away if somebody comes in with this kind of money for it. And what did I say before when I interrupted Real Ryan? Volunteers, not hostages. That's what we want here at this football club. What I was going to say real quick, and I said this to OG in a text message probably 2 weeks ago, maybe like 10 days ago. But I said, just weird, funny feeling, and it now seems like it will not be true. But I said, we're not getting any of those guys. I said, we're not getting Šeško, we're not getting Gyökeres, and we're not getting Ollie Watkins. It's going to be somebody out of right field because I said it right around the Norgard news when the Norgard news broke, because there was no smoke there whatsoever. All of a sudden it was 3-alarm fire. Christian Norgard is going to be an Arsenal player. Done.
Thought it would be Ekatike.
Yeah, it could have been. That's a good shout. I mean, but I just had a feeling that it was going to be like somebody that nobody was talking about. Like just, okay, you'd hear the name once or twice in a random weird, link or story that somebody was like, oh, I heard this from dude's barber's cousin's aunt. I don't know. Something weird.
It's funny. The player that I wanted to sign, plays for Stuttgart, Nick Voldemade.
I thought it was stiffer.
No, yeah, and it's funny because I was like, dude, you send a text, and I was like, you're a fucking idiot. But then I thought about it, and I was like, dude, we could get him from Stuttgart. He definitely wants to leave. He had a great season. He's a tall player. He's great in the air. He's good at connecting. Like he checks all the boxes for like an Arteta striker. I'm like, dude, hell yeah. But now it looks like he's going to Bayern for 100 million. So I'm like, okay, well, there goes that. But looks like we're going to get Gyökeres. But yeah.
Yeah, that's it. This is a good show, boys. It's an hour and 40 minutes. Real Ryan, thanks for hanging around, sticking this one out. I'm gonna give a shout out where the people can find you and anything else you want to, and any last words you want to throw in there.
No, I'm good. Yeah, it was good catching up. Hopefully we can have a couple more of these as some more players come in. But excited about the season and hopefully we can get her over the line, but that's it.
Yeah. Mikey Hurst, thanks for joining us, brother. Always love having you as a part of, not that I don't love having all of you as a part. OG is, I can live without him sometimes.
Just say more than OG, and I'm after that. I'm cool
for sure. That's not even close. It's not even close. So I was going to try to come up with a quick comparison, but I don't know that anything compares to it, Mike.
It's Šeško to Gyökeres, I'll tell you that much. And one is clearly the number one target.
I promise you it's more than that.
The other one is clearly the fallback option.
Yeah. No. Seriously, thanks for jumping in here with us, being a part of this, man. It's always good to have you on. Any final thoughts, last words?
No final thoughts, man. We hatched it out. It was a great podcast. I always enjoy getting on. I'm glad the stars lined up. You can find me at Mike Hers FC on the Twitters. I went under Hersey because Sophie from the wonderful Highbury squad often calls me Hersey in real life, so I just ended up doing that. Shout out to her. I do host a podcast called Not Another Arsenal Podcast, weekly for the most part. We aim for Tuesday, Wednesday night, very late, like this podcast right now for our European listeners, but occasionally we skip a week during the summer because we're not Fabrizio Romano, so to say. We jokingly say this, and as much as I genuinely enjoy chatting about Arsenal, I don't want to be the guy that talks about the Šeško links 5 podcasts in a row. It's just not my cup of tea, you know? So occasionally on the summertime, we're a little bit more sporadic, if you will, not so much well planned out. But thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure. My boy Ryan, congratulations with the kiddo once again. I always like chatting with new fathers. For me, it's one of the coolest things that could happen to you in life is becoming a father. So when I found out my boy had a boy, it's very cool things, man. Very cool things.
OG ended on a good note.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was happy. There's so much to talk about. I'm glad we talk about it with people that I actually like talking to, even if we don't agree. It's nice having this conversation of not everyone's singing the same tune and kind of like everyone bringing their points to the table. And when we have our prediction show right before the season starts, I'm giving Madueke like every award. So just be ready and be prepared. But yeah, I had a good time tonight. Shout out the chat. Shout out the unfortunate foreskins too. Great guys.
The unfortunate foreskins. And on that note, if you guys are watching on Twitter and you wouldn't mind it horribly, please go over to the YouTube channel. Drop us a subscription, Loose Cannons AFC, over on YouTube. You can find us on X, Twitter, whatever the cool kids are calling it today. Find us there. Give us a follow. You can find me at The Bearded Gooner on X, over at Instagram as well. Thanks to the chat.